What is up, and welcome back to Into the Smoke. Today, we're going to be talking about all the Roster Mania stuff and a whole lot more. So, without further ado, what are you guys up to? How have the holidays been? Have they been beautiful and sadly full of Tarkov?
I'm really excited about the holidays because I have a 1-year-old at home, and honestly, what I found out is what happens on Christmas is that you buy them presents that you want to play with. So we just got to play with all of Luke's toys, and he had this hilarious cactus that mimics you. I sent you a video of it, but it's a good time. I like the baby life for the Christmas season.
Pat probably does the same thing with his 12-year-old.
No, but that cactus thing you mentioned is funny. I've seen a lot of TikToks with that thing.
Yeah, it's
you can get very inappropriate very fast with that thing.
Well,
wow,
that's also true.
Wow,
yeah,
that is
It's a good thing babies don't remember.
I don't think you should say that ever. Wow. Speaking of things you probably shouldn't say ever, we're going to hop right into the Roster Mania news. Team Spirit has officially announced their new roster, which is kind of their old roster with just people come back, which is really weird announcement. But what are our thoughts going into it? Does this kind of sort of new Spirit roster excite you for the year 2026, Pat?
Oh, yes. Yes, okay. It does, actually, as a matter of fact, because Chopper's gone. Big number one. I'm not a big Chopper fan. Okay. I think his calls are just not the greatest. Obviously, he's underperforming as an IGL, at least when it comes to his performance on the field. It's not been the greatest. And Sway, as you know, we've made fun of him a million times on this show before. He did have a standout performance there in the final major, but, I mean, it's not enough to keep him around when you're dropping stuff like that. And Zontix, who was solid before, coming back from his little mental break, so I think that's going to fit good. Magix is kind of the question. The IGL for Magix, I don't know how that's going to work out, honestly. But, I mean, the bar is already low, so, like, how much more do we need to go up?
I think they got, like, 3 or 4 wins this year, or in the year 2025. So, like, with this current roster, you think that's over or under?
I think it would probably be over. I'm feeling over. I'm not saying a lot. I'm not saying they're going to do a vitality, but, yeah, they might get 4.
Okay.
No, you got
I think it'll be interesting. The thing that I think is crazy about this roster is just how young everybody's going to be. Like Magix with his first time IGLing, and then I don't know what their actual ages are, but I know everyone's a quite young player compared to like having a Chopper who's that kind of like older figure on your team and can kind of guide you. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, we talk about them having a couple wins this year under their belt with 2025. I could see this team matching that simply because they have Donk and like his counterparts. If they can figure out how to play together as a team, I think they'll be good just like this year. But I don't know if they'll necessarily be better than they are this year, because I do think Chopper was a good strat caller, a good IGL for them at times. He had his moments where he wasn't good either. Personally, he didn't have the best stats, but I think as an overall IGL, he's been talked about by a lot of different players as being a really good IGL.
Who is the IGL for this one?
Magix.
It's going to be Magix. I think that's interesting. And I also think there's a cultural things happening here a little bit too. Obviously, they want folks that speak the language. I do think there's some better players on the market that they could go snag other than this. So it feels a little bit safe. But I mean, we've seen that this group in different ways can actually perform. I mean, if you remove Chopper, which was arguably the worst player on the team when Magix and Zontix were there.
Well, yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Zway was probably worse.
Yeah, well, Zway had won 5K against the Falcons, and we talk about it like he was an amazing player at times.
Yeah. Cool Twitter clip.
It was a great clip. He had an awesome moment, and they had a great interview afterwards, but it felt like even he didn't feel like this conversation was going on outside of that, where like he kind of knew he was going to get the axe, I think, going into that. And I think what's also interesting about this is the fact that we talked about this a lot, and that we didn't like Chopper and Zway on this roster. I think the world kind of talked about it, and clearly the Spirit management talked about it the same way and made this change, which I think is really intriguing, because normally, like in the phase example, it's different. In this one, it was pretty much the same as what everybody thought.
Well, the team didn't go far, so I think that's one piece. Yeah. I also think there's a lot of people and a lot of pundits out there that are saying that this is a really good use of bench time. This is a really good use of like testing other players and kind of coming back. To me, the hard piece is like, I don't think this gets you back to the team last year that won you 3 of your 4 events. This doesn't get you any better than that. And I think that's the hard piece. Like, I think Magix is going to bring the vibes up. Chopper, I think, probably arguably fine as a shot caller, arguably one of the best in the world as a pistol round guy. But then the rest of the game kind of fell off a little bit, but just not a vibes guy. Not one of those dudes that's going to pick up your team, going to make you feel better. Also, not like an authoritarian that's going to like really whip you into shape or like, you know, be that steadfast force that like an Apex is. So Magix definitely isn't going to be that, but he is going to be fun. He's going to be exciting. He's going to be able to make Donk and the rest of the team smile. And we've seen a little bit of that out of Tanier, but like You just need the team to either be in a good spot, which it feels like they went to make Donk happy with the almost like phase style of like, these are the guys you like. Just play with the guys you like. Does that make you happy? But if they're not winning, he's not going to be happy. I mean, we saw him tilt. Like, it is what it is.
I like. I mean, this is just me. Like, we're hypothesizing about the roster of Team Spirit. I like a Shiro drop and Mondesi add if it can happen. I think it's pretty outlandish from the price tag, and I think Mondesi has a couple question marks on him right now with if he'll do it or whatever. Because I mean, you're not going to get the same bag you got with the Falcons, but that seems like a great move for them. That does give them a lot of upside.
It gives him a little bit of youth, but like my fear on Mondesi's side is like Shiro probably was more consistent throughout the year. Mondesi had a higher peak, but he also had a way lower low, which sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Mondesi was definitely the better opera there, but between him and Shiro, and consistently he definitely is. This year maybe it was close, but normally he's way better.
And I don't know if that's really realistic for Mondesi because we don't know what the future for him looks like.
And that's why for me, like
he's out of contract too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. We haven't seen like, and I don't know that we'll get to see like a big announcement that they're like, hey, contract extension type setup.
Yeah.
I doubt he's going to shock roster move or anything like that. So I don't think that's going to happen. But one of the next ones we want to dive into this, not really a shock, but Astralis is officially getting rid of Magix and Device. They're going to be moving on. Device, we know where he's going to go. Magix, who knows? But on the exit, they have said that this is probably going to become an international project moving forward, which is something Astralis has never done. It'll be effectively the end of their national era. If that is true, we think that's a good move for Counter-Strike, or what are our thoughts?
I think it's a good move for Astralis. I think we've seen kind of the national teams has kind of faded away the last few years. I mean, I guess you kind of saw a little bit of success this year from like Furia. I guess they're technically a Brazilian roster, but then when I look at them, I mean, I put a lot of their success in the Maladoy, how good he was, and he's not a Brazilian. So that says a lot towards me, towards like, do we really trust this nationality or this national team model like we used to? So I think it's a good move for Astralis because they're getting away from that and going to an international team. I think you kind of have to be that in this age of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, is Astralis kind of going under on the dollar side? Like, that's part of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've been struggling a lot. They've been trying to find a buyer. Part of their thing is they wanted to keep a buyer within their country. Yeah. So this would probably mean that you're going to either get A, paid for by some outside gambling organization, B, bought by some non-domestic organization. And that would obviously, at that point, who cares if you're international? That doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad from, I think, the name of Astralis. Like, we've seen some amazing players come out of there, and we've seen some really cool moments from this roster. The brand is super recognizable, but it's kind of what's happening across the board. There's a lot of things that are plaguing the esports industry right now. We're seeing it with a lot of different big organizations really struggling to make ends meet. And so I hate to see that org kind of diminish because of the dollar side. And you hope that, the legacy of the players can maybe live on through the org in some ways, but It's sad. It sucks. But I hope best for the players that go and play on the international team. It's just, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see they're taking the vitality route here. Sometimes your players from your nationality, they're just not good enough to compete. So you got to go outside and, you do better. I think for Astralis, sure, it is sad, definitely, because like when they went on their historic run and from their formation, like they are the Danes, right? So it's like it kind of sucks to see that go away. But at the same time, I mean, people are still going to recognize it as that. It's not like their whole team, and maybe it will just be completely just random, and there will be none of the original left over. But losing Device is that's a staple of that team, so that's obviously very sad. But I mean, he's not the man he once was. He's still a good opper, but we'll see him going forward. But for Astralis, much needed. They had a pretty subpar year this year. Nothing's really been working out for them. The only time we ever talk about them is from their past achievements, and they haven't done much since.
Yeah, I hope they lean on the vitality approach, because vitality, while technically they are an international roster, they still feel French. You've obviously got your captain's French, your best player's French, so it does have that kind of imprint on the thing. And it's their major win was significant for France, and it's it does feel like that team really embodies being, while technically an international team, still a domestic French team. I'm curious if Astralis can maintain that, but in the most brutal way with the current pacing of where the Danish players are. Probably 5 to 8 years ago, we were looking at, of your top 25, more than half of them were Danish players. Now you're looking at it, and there's maybe 3 that you could argue are in the top 25. And it's at this point, it's just weird to see such a not big country go from being so dominant to so non-existent so quickly. It's crazy. It does feel like we're in kind of almost a mini Russian era, because we do have so many Russian players at the top, but that's really the only group that feels like they have enough to where they could actually put forth 1 or 2 national teams, which is crazy.
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
The other national team that we want to talk about, though, is going to be Aurora. They're going to be dropping Jada for Soulfly, which is the highest rated, I believe, Turkish prospect. So they seem to be maintaining their national setup, going with the best prospect they can within their nationality. Do we think this is a good move? I mean, this does mean they're not going to get broken up. We're not going to see some moves because they do have talent on that team still. We like it. We hate it. What are our thoughts on this?
I like it. I mean, I think anything to help Zantaris, anything to get him more firepower around him is good for this roster. We've talked so much about them this year, how like if he's hitting, if he's playing really well, they can be a really good team and take down really good teams. But you can't consistently expect him to just drop numbers, especially at his age. He's not like, he doesn't have the youth like Donk or somebody does to be able to just carry every single match over and over. So I think anything to add a little bit of firepower to his roster is a good thing for them.
Yeah, the same thing with Woxic, like a player who can show up in big moments. We've seen him make big plays. And I think this is like, they kind of fall into this mouse bucket of the unspoken team, like that we know is there and they can make top 5, they can win a quarterfinals match, they can do some big things, but they don't always do it. And when they do, it's pretty quiet. So anything to be able to give them just a little bit more horsepower to find themselves in those moments where they can do something a little bit more special. Because right now it just feels like there's a couple teams that are just kind of seeping into this weird spot where they can't fight their way out of it. And we were also, I don't know how this happened, but we're kind of in a cultural episode too, where like the Mongols are the Mongols team, right? The Spirits are the Russian team. We've got, the Danes on Astralis, and this being an all Turkish roster, and Turkey being a really small country when you compare it to some of those folks, right? And I think that it's really hard to find talent within your own organization that can really be an excellent player for you, not to just win, but to go win a major, right? Because that's really what all these guys are fighting for. And I think they're going to need to change probably more in order to get to that spot, in my opinion, because I haven't seen enough from the individual players outside of, just the Jodo moves.
And I mean, and that's what's crazy too, is when you look at the top teams right now, it's obviously Vitality is not a national-based organization anymore. Mals are not a national-based organization anymore. The Falcons are not. And it's you have all of these teams that it's the Falcons don't care who they bring in. It doesn't matter. They're not there's no preference to that. Whereas it does feel like you're kind of playing on hard mode if you are an Aurora, if you're a Mongolz, if you're an Astralis, or even Spirit, which technically Spirit does have a Belarus player. But it's one of those where it does feel like you're kind of playing on a harder difficulty, wanting to keep your core being national based. But I mean, that's what some organizations want.
I'm certain it works too, right?
Yeah, I'm also certain it's for pay reasons, it's probably easier, for logistical, for travel, for a lot of reasons. Because when you have an international roster, you think about what 100 Thieves is about to do. They're gonna have a camp set up in Europe somewhere for an LA-based company to bring in players, arguably from 5 different countries, to worry about visa issues and everything else. And we see how negatively that impacts Spirit specifically because they're Russian right now, and then also Falcons a little bit. But then we might be in a weird spot where all of a sudden everybody hates Dutch people. And it's that passport might not be easy to get to the U.S. anymore.
Yeah.
So it does make it logistically annoying. Whereas, if you are the French national team, I'm certain the French government is going to be hey, these guys represent us. Let's figure out a way to make this work.
It's going to turn on the Dutch. That's what it's got to be, right? Those Dutch guys. Yeah, this is interesting. And I think the language barriers are a huge one, right? If we don't speak the same language, smoke Mirage A, whatever, you can get by with some of that stuff, but you lose some of the friendship side of it, right? Because you just can't bond outside of the game, which makes it really challenging. You need a translator, all that stuff. It adds to the expenses. So really, really interesting time for a lot of these teams. And I like the international stuff where it's a bigger squad and we have a bigger pool of players, but it's clearly not working. Mals didn't do great. Falcons didn't make it to a spot. The teams that we saw in the end, Furia blew up because they had Brazil and pretty much everyone behind them on the same side. And we've seen that culturally, it's good to have a country that makes you go further, kind of behind you and within your own organization. So I don't know. We'll see.
The one thing I do think that about international rosters, from a viewer perspective, I think they become really exciting. You have a bigger pool of names to be able to bring into your team. FaZe has always been the international team that's had the biggest names all the time, and it's that's why FaZe is so exciting because they have the biggest name players. They have all the eyes on them watching. So I think it brings a lot of excitement, but it comes with a heavy price tag. So
yeah, it also comes with everybody hating you, and you bring in Jacob and Brokey, and you're who are these cats and why? That does hurt. But the next one we want to talk about, we need to stay on the international bandwagon, is going to be the Mongols.
Yeah.
They seemingly are not going to renew Control's contract. And then on Mongolian national show, I guess, we get to see Senzu back with the team. So it does look like Senzu will probably be coming back at the beginning of the year. That is, again, speculation. They have not confirmed this, but it would be odd to have them on a national show with the rest of the players and controls not getting renewed. But do we think if Senzu comes back, this is a team that can win a major?
No.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I think that they got there to the major final in Austin, so that proves that they have the ability to win it. They didn't win that one, but if you're in the major final, you have the ability to win it. There's no question. But
They played one team.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter who you play. Like, you could get the lucky
100%.
card.
You can get there on a fluke for sure.
Same
Yeah,
with
and you win
Furia.
it.
Furia played one team to get there. Vitality, and lost to them in the finals. They had the easy breezy path there.
What?
Fury lost in the first.
They
round.
were-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Furia lost, and that's what I'm saying. They made it all the way to the finals, so they had to play a real team in the actual finals.
Nah, FaZe made the
No,
final.
face made the final.
What, am I
FaZe
lost?
Vitality.
Yeah, that's face.
Remember,
Okay.
Furia lost to Navi.
Dude,
Yeah, round one.
clearly I've lost my mind here. I'm so sorry.
All good.
But no, I mean, to me, I don't disagree. An easy bracket is doable, but this team with Senzu, it's like, even that run, it's like they had to play a phase. They had to play I think, Pain. And it's like, I don't know that they can run a gauntlet. I don't know if they're getting another favorable bracket. We did see a weird bracket this time. I mean, it was Navi v phase, which is weird. So it's like, that is an odd side. So, like, I'm not going to disagree they can get it back, but I would find it improbable that they could get 3 easy matchups. And I just don't think they can beat a top 5 team right now, even with Senzu.
I think it'll be interesting. I think they have a better chance than they did with Controls. I think Controls played really good on the team, but I think that kind of what we were talking about a little bit ago, Senzu that's their core, it's their vibe. They've been playing together for so long, so losing him, I think that definitely hurt the team regardless, even if Controls would have played out of his mind. Like, they're just not as comfortable. So I think bringing Senzu back is a good thing for them, but I don't know. I mean, I think they have what it takes to win a major. Will they do it? I don't know.
They're just so young still, too. Like, nobody on that team has shown that they lose this focus, I guess that would be the word, where it's like they look really focused at times and they look like they're goofing around. So, like, if they're beating a team really bad, they are 100% the goof around team that, like, goes for, like, crazy plays for whatever reason they have. Where I feel like that coach that they have is always trying to rein them in just a little bit. And I do think they still have some upside. I don't know how much upside. I don't know if it's also enough when you compare it, if anybody makes a really big roster move, to be able to actually fight, because they might be a little capped, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mongolz, I agree with you. I think they're very young, and that really shows a lot in their gameplay because they are very, like, spontaneous team. Like, if we go back to the Austin Major, when they were facing against Vitality, when we was on that Mirage, like, Mongolz were looking spectacular. Yeah. And, like, they were feeling it, and they were vibing, and they were completely dominating. But it's then anytime it feels like they get any sort of hardship, it's like they buckle under the pressure. And that could potentially just be an age thing. And maybe it needs to be that they need to concentrate more, boot camp more, put in more practice and effort. I know Senzu obviously stepped away for the mental things. And if he is coming back, like, there was always that talk about how, like, they just were nonchalant about it. Like, there wasn't that real drive and care. And they could still make it to brackets. You were always guaranteed to maybe see the Mongolz in bracket, but they could never make that finals except for the majors. And I think it was EWC was the other one they made it to the end to.
Sure.
Mickey Mouse, yeah.
Who won it?
But yeah, the Mickey Mouse tournament. But I think they definitely have potential. But I think it's one of those things where it's going to take a little bit of maturing from their team to really settle in and get the job done.
It's also tough too. Whenever you look at the concept of we're in a league now that's dominated by stars, and you really need to have not just 2 but probably 3 in the current capacity. And that's where even you look at a Spirit's very weak. Like, Don can be the greatest player in the world all he wants. How close is Shiro to him, and then how close is the next best player to him, right? But then it's like, okay, cool. We look at, say, Vitality, and it's like you have Zywoo, and then you have Rops, and then you can pick any of the other 3, and they're still insane. And then you look at Furia, for example. I mean, you've got Maladoy and Quesarado, and then you have a Fallen back there. You have another, like, tried-and-true player. And when I look at the Mongolz, it's like I think Senzu and 910 are really good, and then maybe you got Techno behind them. But it's like it just doesn't stack up the same. Like, those aren't going to be able to compete with a Rops and a Zywoo, even with a Shiro and a Donk. And your best shot is, like, to hopefully get a Mouse, but then Mouse has to be playing as a perfect team out of their mind to compete. So it just feels like it's really hard for them to maintain those top 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, I just think Vitality has something that's so special right now. Like, the only 2 that I see that are, like, truly, like, the 2 dominant players are, like you said, Zywoo and Rops. I think every other team, like, they have 2 good players, but nothing to the level of that. And I think that's why you saw Mongolz was able. There's only 3 teams that made a major final this year, and it's Mongolz, whoever FaZe, and now Vitality made both of them. So I mean, to be one of those 3 teams shows that they have the capability to make it all the way. But I don't know if they have enough to beat Vitality because they have something special, but if they could find themselves in a major final, not against Vitality, I think they could beat anybody.
It's possible. The next segment we want to highlight here is going to be, it's a little bit of fun, kind of this or that. We're going to be comparing 2025 to 2026 and kind of like a more or less type game. The first one we're going to talk about is the winners from the year. We had 7 different major tournament winners. Obviously, we had 2 majors. We had a lot of significant events. Most of those came from Vitality. Vitality had your most wins, and then you had Spirit. You had Falcon snuck in there. We had Mongolz with the EWC. We had G2 in London. And then obviously we had Furia 2. So we had 7 total this year. Start us off, Davis. Do you think we're going to see more unique winners in major or significant big events? Or do you think we're going to see less in 2026?
I think it sounds kind of weird to say just because Vitality won so many events this year, but I kind of think we're going to have less this coming year. Sure. I don't think Vitality will have as many of this year, so there will be more up to grabs, but I think you'll see a lot of other teams that will have more. You'll see more Falcons wins, you'll see more Spirit wins, you'll see Vitality's definitely going to win some. I think that's pretty clear. I think FaZe has the capability after showing what they could do in the major. I think they have the capability to win events. So I think we're going to see a lot more even competition at the top. It was like weird this year. It was like the first half of the year, Vitality is going to win everything. The second half of the year is just like a free-for-all. We have so many different teams winning. I don't think it will be that. I think we'll see a couple different, eras in the next year's season.
So bold call here. Monesi is going to get his first trophy in a Falcons uniform. I like it.
Yeah.
Pat, what you got, more or less?
I think that's good.
Well, first what are the parameters here? Does every tournament count? Like
No, just big tournaments.
No,
So this
just
is
the
like
big
your
ones?
It's like your ESL Pro Leagues, your Katowice, which I think one of those is actually.
I think I'm gonna go with less too. I think surprisingly, with how much Vitality did win this season, I think still having 7 different winners is still quite a lot. Especially whenever we talk about only such a select few amount of teams, but just because some were able to like squeeze by. So I think it's going to be less. I think you really just have a couple really good teams, and as long as there's not really any flukes, I think you're maybe only going to see. I'm gonna make a bold prediction here early. I'm gonna say 5.
5, okay.
5.
I like that.
You gonna go less or more?
I don't know. I kind of want to go less after Pat did as well.
Sure.
We don't know a ton about some of the roster moves, so I think that might change this a little bit. But ultimately, it comes to like if Vitality doesn't make a change, that's pretty scary, right? The Mongolz are still going to be in that picture. The FaZe is still going to be in that picture, and I think maybe Spirit's in there too. And those guys can definitely all trade off of each other, and that's kind of what we saw this year. So actually, no, I think it'll be more. I'm going to go more. I think there's going to be enough where them can trade enough from each other.
Yeah, I'm going to go more just mostly because, like, we thought objectively speaking, the G2 thing felt a little bit like a fluke this year when they got a big win in the Blast London. And it's like that stuff minus this year, and mostly because of Vitality, happened so frequently in the past. Where it's like the year before, you would see like Na'Vi was the best team of the year before, and then this year the only thing they won was a Mickey Mouse event where they played nobody, right? But it's like if Na'Vi wins next year in 2026, you're not going to be surprised. It wouldn't be that shocking of a win. Now, when Vitality wins half a year's worth, it becomes surprising. And I just don't think Vitality is going to be able to go on a crazy run like that. I think that the rest of the people, we saw the top 10 were so interchangeable this year. And that gives you the opportunity to have anyone in the top 10 win, which I think is true and doable. Because, again, Monesi didn't get a single win. When he was on G2, they didn't win. When he was off G2, they did win. When he was on the Falcons, they didn't win. When he was not on the Falcons, they did win. So it's like each of the teams he was on got one, and you're not going to be surprised if Falcons gets one this year. You're not going to be surprised if FaZe or Furia, Na'Vi, really. Obviously, Spirit, Mongolz, Vitality are probably going to be there. Mongolz might sneak one in. So it's like, I see where it still could be like in the 8 to 10 range. So I'm going to go more. I think it'll be exciting year.
The thing that I think that was interesting about this year is like everybody was making roster moves chasing Vitality. So that's why I feel like everybody within like 2 to 10 was so even, because all these rosters are brand new. Everybody's making changes to try to rise to the top to beat Vitality, and no one could ever do that. So that's kind of why I think those teams are so even, because everybody's like got a new roster trying to figure out new strats. I think next year, if Vitality can't, win everything like they did this year, I think we'll see a lot more confidence coming out of the middle, like 1 to 5 teams. We'll see a lot. Those 5 teams will win a lot of events.
Yeah, 100%. The next one we want to hop into is going to be new maps. Now, we did just literally 5 minutes before going on here. Counter-Strike did tweet in response to one of the montage makers, like 2026, but the 0 in 2026 was the nuclear sign. So everyone thinks that they're going to bring in cash back based on that. So we'll see. But the thing is, they added 2 new maps. They swapped Vertigo in for Train, or Train in for Vertigo, rather. And then they replaced Anubis for Overpass. So we did get 2 map swaps during the year. Do we think this year we're going to be getting 2 new maps in the pool? Do we think we're going to be getting less than that or more than that? Start us off, CJ.
What would you take out? I mean, I hate watching Overpass right now. I think Inferno has probably played a little bit of. We're all Inferno'd out. How many have we seen in Inferno? So I like a cash back in. I actually liked Anubis. I liked watching Anubis. I think that was a great map. So I think a sub back for Anubis. I think it needs a little work because the middle of the map's kind of lopsided on that. But let's say maybe the same, right? Over maybe
Another 2?
Yeah.
I think the same as well. I was going to say that too. I think 2 is a good number, especially like when you're trying to change the map pool. Like you don't want to change it too much, but you also don't want it to get too stale. Like you said, we've seen a lot of Inferno, we've seen a lot of Mirage, we've seen Overpass for years now. All these maps really for years now. So it's like you want to get something fresh in there, but you also don't want to change it up too much. So I think 2 is a good number.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go the same as well. The Valve devs and stuff, they've been
Not
notoriously
creative.
lazy and they don't do a lot. So yeah, 2.
I
Yeah.
also, the more and more I watch Ancient, I think Ancient has some weird nuances of like how the game plays on that map.
It's also a permaban for half the top.
Yeah,
teams,
half
so.
the top teams don't want to play it. There's a couple teams that are okay at it, but I think that map is definitely one that I would like to see removed as well. Just because it's very unorthodox to the way middle works in that you're constantly battling for it, and it becomes this slaughter at the beginning. Whoever wins that slaughter fest normally wins the round. Which is tough. So
Yeah, for me, I'm going to be hopefully optimistic again. I'm going to say over. And that's because I think they'll probably change 1 going into the first half of the year. But I actually hope they start swapping to a 2 change per setup. And even if it's just for the sake of breaking up the monotony, because it is like, we don't get to watch Ancient because it's a permaban, but the players would literally rather go out and figure out Overpass. Whereas if you swap 2 maps in per, like, you're going to be shaking things up significantly to where, like, all right, I'd rather play Ancient than play Cobble or Cash, right? Or whatever it is. So I think they'll probably do 1 change at the beginning. And then I hope in the summer we start going to it because they supposedly have a lot of maps ready. Supposedly they have Cobble ready. We know that they have Cash ready. Supposedly they have a remake of the Venice map ready. And then they're going to be reworking the middle part of Anubis as well. So, I mean, that's effectively 4 maps that are pretty close to ready. And I mean, it is Counter-Strike. There's totally reality where we get 1 this year and that's it. But I can't imagine that they're just going to be sitting on like 3 to 5 new maps for years at this point. They might. They totally might, but I hope not.
Yeah. I like Anubis too. I wanted to shout that back out
Yeah.
from you earlier. I actually thought that was a sick map.
yeah, and I don't
Yep.
mind that getting deeper too. So like, let's just add. Like, why do we have to take a map out? Let's just add 2. It gives a little bit of variety, so we don't see the same ones every series. Because we do see like a ton of Mirage. We've seen a ton of Inferno. We haven't seen that much Train. I think Train has been light. Ancient's been light.
Ancient's been light.
But I feel like it's Dust, Nuke,
Dust.
and
Yeah.
Inferno.
I'm so
every
tired of
time.
watching. Dust is so CT sided right now too that it's like we saw a lot of 12-0s on the CT side, more than any other map on Dust too. And so that's clearly an issue because the middle of the map is just so hard to break through on the T side. That's what do you do? Run through the middle doors. Good luck.
Yeah.
And then if we want to keep, kind of piling on to the CS devs and being curious as to what they're currently up to, because frankly, we have no idea. It hasn't been making a new operation / battle pass. I think there's an active Twitter account that tracks this, and it's something insane. I think it's like 1,300 days since the last operation, which is ludicrous. So we didn't get one in 25. Do we think the curse will be broken and we will get, and I had to put battle pass in there because we might not ever get an operation again. We might get like a battle pass-esque thing.
Yeah.
But do we think that's coming in 2026, or are we just straight to 7?
I sure hope so, dude. Because it's like it's so annoying to see like, when you have like the tickets or whatever that you've used in the game. If you've used all 40, and it's like, what do I even use these on anymore? This the same skins that I see. I've looked at them for months. I don't want these skins. Can I get something new? And like, I mean, to be honest, skins is the whole thing of Counter-Strike. Like people love skins. They want new skins. Like give us some new stuff. So you make billions of dollars off of cases. Like let's do something with it.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of those things where I think this helps like make the game fresh. And I think right now, specifically what's going on with the skins and the gambling side, there's definitely a little bit of an attack on that and trying to flatten out the market, make sure the illegal things that are happening are not happening anymore. And this ties into that because I think something fresh and new can take a little bit of the chaos of that and focus it somewhere else. So maybe it could do some of those things. But I haven't seen any hints at it. I would love to see something that changes the game a little bit, though, because I like a fresh look, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those where I feel like they have to at this point, but it also gives you a reason because like they have those daily quest things where it's like get 30 kills with the Nova or something like that, and it's like, dude, I'm never doing that. Like, I don't play 2 community maps. It's like now, if you gave me some crazy elaborate operator skin that I could get if I did all this stupid stuff over the span of 2 months, you got me.
I'll probably do
I'm
it.
in. I'm in.
Yeah.
But in the current capacity, it's like I have no reason to explore the community map. I have no reason to explore trying to do duos or some other weird nonsense. And it's like it allows your other things to flourish and allows the other things to expand more. And it's like it is such low hanging development fruit. Like it is the easiest. Like every game has a battle pass. League of Legends has a battle pass. We got to do it. It has to happen in 26. If not, then we just got to go to Gabe's boat and boycott, I guess.
Counter-Strike 3.
Yeah.
No, this is easy. It's a big 0. They don't care. They never have. This is simple. The community keeps this game alive, and they're just kind of strung along to being forced to update and make this game. It seems like because like all we're gonna get, I can call it now, is with the new tickets and stuff. We might get a new collection when they put in a new map like Cache or Overpass, or not Overpass, Cobblestone or anything like that. We probably get a new collection to spend those tokens on, which will have some skins in it, and that's all we'll get.
The original Cobble collection, I'm pretty sure, is where the D-Lore is from.
No, but it won't have that one.
No, we got like a D-Lore AK or some. Ooh.
Sure, but that's the most effort they were put in. They will not. We will not get an operation. We will not get elaborate quests with reasons to do anything. We don't get any more coins anymore. The badges, whatever you want to call them, to show off. That's why those things are so cool when you see them, because like, well, that's a time from far away. They don't exist anymore. Remember when Counter-Strike used to give a crap?
Well, I also remember when we used to be able to get the coins from majors, but here we are on bronze and silver. So that's a different problem. That's a different problem.
That's a us problem.
That's a stage 1 upset problem.
It's true. So the next thing we want to hit is going to be 2025 versus 6, more or less significant changes. I would say this has probably been the lightest year we've had. When Counter-Strike 2 first came out, obviously it was a different game, so they had to balance a lot of things very quickly. So there was that. And then it felt like towards the end of Go, there was always like a new gun, and R8 that came out. The CZ was busted, the Krieg was busted, the SSG was busted. So it was like kind of like a rotational piece. It kind of felt like there was always something new. Whereas this year we got kind of CT updates, so it did make the CT side a little bit stronger over the summer. That's really the only significant thing we got. We got some audio changes, but insignificant. So 25 versus 6, CJ, are we going to get more significant changes than 1, same or less?
And if I'm then, I don't know if trying to think about it from a viewer and a me perspective. I don't know if I love CTs being as strong as they are right now. It's definitely fun to watch because you get this, hey, get 9 rounds, and that is the goal. If you can get 1 extra round on the T side, you will win the game. Which that's not terrible to watch, if I'm honest, compared to a dominant T side where the CTs are like just trying to struggle to buy anything. So I kind of like where it is in some ways. So I don't think we should do any major changes, but I'm not the guy in charge of that. And so if I am them, I do think change sometimes can be good. So there's probably something in the works, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Do you think it's just 1? Is what
Yeah, maybe just 1. And obviously if that breaks the game,
Sure.
Actually, I kind of like where we're sitting at right now with the money situation, just because I think like you having on the T side, if you have an AK, like that's a big deal. Like you can one tap someone in the head if they have full armor. So I think that kind of gives them the benefit of like you have the gun that can one tap. CTs are going to have a little bit, not necessarily more money, but like the first half of the year before they made the change, like you said, it was kind of miserable watching.
You got
the
like
CTs.
2 or 3 buy rounds.
Yeah, if you got stomped, like you just wouldn't have any guns, and the terrorists would just run all over you the whole game. So I don't want to see that again. The thing that I do think is interesting, though, because I was watching some highlights actually earlier today from like another video that we're in the works of making, but like some gun changes, like there was people using the MP5, people using the AUG, the SSG, like bring more of that in the game. I feel like there was none of that this year. It's only AK, M4, AWP. So just having more variety within the weapons, I think, would be cool.
What you got, Pat?
I don't know. I think maybe we can go with just the same. I don't know. Maybe you made all these questions, so I would just hate on the devs this whole time. But they're just incredibly slow to do these things, and I don't know if it's because they're very meticulous about the things, or just because of Valve's more laid back policy when it comes to like how they work on their games, which is cool, by the way. I'm not hating on it. I like the policy.
I think we should increase the range of this taser.
No, we should not. Actually, we should not do
Hey,
that.
I think there's a guy who likes to. He has a dog in the background. I think he has a feeling about the range of the taser.
I don't think it's in the game anymore. I think they need to bring back the taser up where it's
Oh,
like,
where you can swap.
swap real
Yeah,
quick and it shoots the lightning bolt. That'd be
That was sick.
Sorry, we interrupted you back.
Yeah, keep
So
going.
it's all right. It's all good. And other guns would be cool, I guess, but the problem is anytime they do something like that, it just becomes busted. So that's why we got like the AUG meta, and then it was just AUGs all the time because the pros are obviously going to go to what's best. So if you make a gun better than the M4, they're going to use the better gun, except for like some weird person who likes to stick to their old gun. So it becomes a very hard balancing act to make it to where it's just as equally good, but yet you got to justify spending more money for it. So it has to technically be better, right? So, but then everybody's just going to go for that. But now they don't. It's a weird balancing act. I think new guns would be cool if they wanted to do that. We haven't seen one since, I guess, was the R8 the last one?
I think the R8 was probably the last one. I do think, I agree. I am hoping, and again, this is me being cautiously optimistic, much like the others. I'm hoping for 2 or more this year because I don't necessarily know that we need a new gun, but it does feel a little bit different. Like what you're talking about with the weapon balances, it's unfortunate right now because I feel like the Galil is so much better than the FAMAS, but the Galil is the baby gun to the AK. And it's like, I don't feel like that team needs anything more.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like the FAMAS should be buffed and maybe the Galil should be nerfed. But I do think the MP9's in a really good spot. It might be on the verge of OP, especially when you compare it to the MAC-10. But that is also a CT gun, so that's like that kind of helps the CTs a little bit on some cheap sides. And then the pistol-wise, like it does feel very odd because like the USPS feels like a far superior option to the Glock. But even when I'm on the Terra side, it's like I see pros using dualies all the time on both sides, and they're totally fine with them. I don't know how because the dualies suck. If they're in my hands, they're dog water. Tech 9, I can shoot faster and have more bullets, but like the Glock doesn't do anything. On the T side, I usually feel helpless and afraid, and I'm just going to get one tap by USPS. So it doesn't feel the most balanced from a CT versus T side. So I would like to see a little bit more balance on that. But then also I think the util has a little bit that could be, kind of tweaked and changed. I think it's been the same setup for a really long time. At times it feels really strong. At times it feels really like underpowered. So I don't know. I feel like they should change some stuff and kind of mix it up. I do like that the first half of this year we got to see effectively one meta. And then the second half of the year we got to watch teams kind of change to a new meta. That's something that in Counter-Strike I feels like it didn't feel like it impacted the scene as much as it has in a while until this year. Because Vitality didn't look good for a while. Now they figured it out and they got back on the horse, but like it was interesting watching teams adapt. So I hope we get to see more of that.
Yeah, I agree.
The next thing that I hope we don't have to adapt to at all is going to be market changes. This year, they did 2 really significant changes to the market. One, they effectively allowed for a buyback system type setup. And then the other one, both of them triggered the market to collapse by literal billions of dollars. Do we think this year we are going to see less than, equal to, or more than 2 monumental market changes?
I would think less than, just because of like this is like super out of the ordinary, the changes that happened this year. So I would think less than, but also with how quick these 2 changes were implemented from Valve, like it kind of seems like CJ mentioned earlier, like they're attacking this whole skins operation, and so I guess we could see more. It just depends on how they want to attack it.
Pat, I know you're the most excited about this. Just go ahead and let us know all of your thoughts.
I mean, I honestly hope we see more, but I think it'll be less big. I mean, because these were 2 gigantic changes. I don't know what else they could really do to like combat those things, at least like in game wise, that would like affect like everybody else playing besides taking it outside of the game. But yeah, good for that. I'm happy. I'm glad you can exchange 5 reds for a knife. Don't at me.
Sorry, are you wearing a Valorant hat?
Yep, I am. On there, I buy my knife for like $50, right? I'm glad Counter-Strike got down to my level, right?
It's not 50 still, but
unfortunately, we'll get there. Wait till they make that next change.
Yeah.
That next change is going to be a big one.
What you got, TJ?
I love it. Let us know how you feel about Pat's Valorant hat in the chat below. I don't know the answer to this question because I don't have a crystal ball, but if you were to say, hey, pick a direction, I would say more. Just because I think we're entering into another stage of like attacking on the gambling side. And so they're going to try and regulate. They're going to try and do all the things they can to maintain control of the market, to make sure all the aftermarket stuff isn't happening. And in order to do that, they have to kind of knock some people down along the way. So updates probably incoming, but hey, people still going to buy the skins. So
Sure. And that's what I think. I think it's going to be more. And I think that my rogue bold prediction is in 2026, Counter-Strike is going to remove themselves from the case industry. I think the terminal market was kind of a step in that direction. I think they're going to, either with Armory Pass or otherwise, slowly phase. I don't think they're going to get rid of the old cases. So if you're a case collector, it's probably a good time to start getting inventory. But I do think there's a good chance that they're going to try to get rid of the case completely in 2026. So with that, I think it's going to come some. It's not going to be a singular change. It'll have to be like 2. And with that, I think if you've got 2 for that, doing a third one is going to be chump change. I don't think they care about the price of the market. They just, I think, are trying to deregulate, trying to get away from kind of like, foreign governments and everybody getting worried about them and looking into them. And I think Valve is like, hey, we have a literal ATM here. We do not want to turn off the ATM. Yeah. Let's, as quickly as possible, find a way to keep the ATM going and make regulators happy. And I think the only way you do that is getting rid of cases.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, if you looked at the global way it works, but it's a form of currency that can be used for a lot of different things that are illegal. And so I'm not saying everyone does it for that. Most people probably do not, but there are bad actors that are likely doing that. And the U.S. government just can't allow it. Like, sure. and that sucks. But like, that's, if you're looking for like the reason why behind in the chat, you're trying to figure out, no, they'll never do that. They probably will do that because those things are happening, which sucks. And I hate it as a gamer, but it is what it is.
It's also weird too, because you got to think from a development cost perspective, it's got to be a little bit expensive because there are certain regions now to where you can't have the case be random. You basically have a preview thing and it like just pops and tells you what's in the case. Now you have to buy that before you can do it to another case. So it's technically not like the case roll mechanic. But if you're a dev, you have to do that because certain countries won't let you have loot boxes and won't let you have stuff like that. And it feels like the terminal was the first step in that direction, but it feels like we're going to keep going there until they're gone. And I think that'll probably be 26. That's got to excite you, Pat. We're going to get rid of cases. Now we're basically Valorant. That's the dub, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, down with the loot boxes. I didn't like them in Overwatch. I don't really care for them in Counter-Strike. I mean, I don't know. Call me a simpleton, but like, I mean, I want people to play Counter-Strike for the game, not because you can get a $10,000 skin. I could care less.
Yeah, but dude, seeing that knife just
those gloves are sweet.
I don't disagree. A lot of those things are sweet. I just think it's just overinflated mumbo jumbo crap.
Yeah.
Like,
do you say that now that you have a pair of nice shiny knives?
No, I mean, I got those only because of the crash and got them for super cheap because I wouldn't pay a lot of money for those things. When I got my first butterfly, I paid $67 for it.
Hey, that's a boomer.
$67.
Hey, that's some
now you can't get a butterfly for like under $1,000. Well, maybe with the crash, there might have been some that went under there. But before that, it's like, no.
Hey,
that was quick.
We all can't be boomers like you. But speaking of boomerness, we're going to move over to all chat. And this is going to be what is the one thing you want to see in 2026. And right now, Pat, you are queued up to lead us off. Tell us your little boomer stand here. Go ahead, rip it.
$67 butterfly knives. That's what I want to see.
Is that the reward for
Yeah,
Premier?
that's the reward. No, I want to see better reward for premieres. Are you talking about people being upset? Oh my goodness!
Dude, $25K gets a butterfly knife.
Cry.
Bro, I'd cry.
Oh, they would cry like
I'd pay for
babies.
glasses.
Holy moly! You can't have nice things like that. But unfortunately, right now, it's the last season. All you get is your little badge, and it is cool. It does do some changes. Me and Davis were looking at it to verify. It does change per your rank, per how many wins you get. That's cool and nifty and all, but that's just a badge. I'm not going to wear that on my profile forever when I have like Operation Breakout badges and stuff like that of those things they don't make anymore. So I would like to see, and it ain't got to be a knife. A knife is way too much to ask for. But like, not even a skin really. If they want to give us a sticker, I think a sticker to put on your gun would be cooler than these badges.
Permanent graffiti.
Yeah, graffiti that you can always use. Like, maybe it's a bundle. You get the badge, you get a sticker, and you get a graffiti. Like, just like that. A small change they can make that would make Premiere a little bit better. If they do want to give us a gun, maybe it's like a blank gun they change every season, and the colors are different based on the rank that you get. That could be cool, too, but that's obviously a little bit more effort. But I would be down for any of those. I think Premiere is fun, and it's not going to make me stop playing just because we have badges, but it would be cool to have more lucrative rewards for achieving X rank.
I like the idea of a helmet. Something like, I think Halo did that in a really cool way where you got like just a little bit of a differentiator on your helmet so that when you got in the gunfight with that person that it was like, oh, like they're a 20K or whatever. So like something cosmetic that's super faint. It could be a color, it could be I know when I say color is probably the bad example because like that's when you get into weird stuff or like can they use that color to then hide themselves in some ways. But anything that differentiates the player model makes it really cool, I think.
Dude, I'm down for the knife, bro. Like, that sounds sick. I do think that would be the most upset people would be. It's like, if you're 5K and below, you get, like, a boreal forest gut knife or something like that. And then it's like, as you go up, it gets crazy. I think you could do stuff like that would be super cool. I even think skins, like, if you pick a, I don't know, AK or whatever, and it is just a skin that is a seasonal-based reward. It could be the quality or souvenir status or something like that. It could be associated with it. But I agree, like, for me, the incentive to play Premier is just, it shows you your highest rank, you win 100 matches, you get your maxed out little badge. That's all you got, right? And it's like, give me a reason to want to grind this. Because, like, you look at other games like League and even Call of Duty's done cool stuff in the past. And it's like, it's a low-hanging fruit to do something like a permanent graffiti.
Ooh,
to
or
do
new
something
music. New music would be cool, too.
Yeah, maybe get a picture
Like
of song
custom,
pack.
just
Music
only music for certain ranks kind of thing?
Sure.
There's got to be something more than the badge. I mean, like, the badge is cool, but, like, kind of like Pat said, I mean, if you have other badges, like if you have the 10-year vet coin or like a service coin from way back in the year or like an operation coin, like you're never going to put your premier badge over that. It's just not, it's not cool enough. It doesn't have the same aura as, you know, the young people like to call it. So I think it needs to be something like skins and you can make it like League of Legends where it's like, it's literally the same skin. It just changes color based on your rank. So like your M4 has like, it's the same pattern. It just has a different skin, or it has a different color to that skin because of the rank that you achieved. I think it needs to be something like that.
Or maybe like a headshot. You know how the headshot sounds just a little bit different? Something that just like tweaks that.
Right, now we're getting now we're basically Valorant and
Oh, I like that stuff though. That stuff's cool.
I do think
Stuff is cool, ain't it, CJ? That was cool.
now I do think the ace cards at the bottom whenever you're like streaking in the round, I think that's a pretty cool thing. Like, dude, there's so much like little stuff you could do to the game to make it. But I think there's so much little stuff like that you could do that would be sick, but it is what it is. CJ, what do you got for us?
Okay. All right. Oh, sorry, I had a different lower thirds originally, and I was, but it's good. I would love to see some consistency from the Mongolz specifically, and I know you guys are like, yeah, CJ, you're always on your Mongolz hype train kind of thing, but we talked about it a little bit on the show. And I do think that they can be a superpower roster like Vitality, but they got to find the consistency in there. So that's my thing that I want to see in the next year is Mongolz just be a little bit more consistent so I can throw their name out there and be proud of it. And then two, just America in general. You know, I'd love to have an American team that I feel like I can root for. The complexity, the NRGs, whatever, all those guys were kind of like not great this year. Didn't even want to root for them. There wasn't really a fan base behind them other than the name itself. So
they don't even exist in 2026. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, exactly. So
Both
we want something like that to come back. We want some Cloud9's resurgence, an American team that we can fight for.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you tee off on this, Davis, but I just want to note the other part of this right here. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's all it is. You can go ahead.
I would like to see Mongolz return. I'm really big on the American Rise, though. I thought like M80 was our team this year that like really showed us that they could possibly be that team that rises up to the next level for NA. I don't think there really wasn't any other team that I can think of off the bat right now that kind of showed me the same thing that M80 showed me. I know there was one event where they actually made the playoff. Yeah, Passion had a pretty good event too. Yeah, but there was one event where M80 actually made the playoff. I can't remember which one that was, but I think I would really like to see that team continue to get better. I know they've already made a roster move. I don't know if they picked anyone else, but they did drop one of their players. So they're making moves to try to become better. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Pat, what you got for this?
I go. I'm going to ignore the first part. I'm gonna make a quick thing on it. I don't know what's up with your thing for the Mongolz. Like just let it go, man. Just let it go,
we love
brother.
The
now the second part, I'm with you. American Rise. I just had, me and Davis were talking earlier, just had this guy commenting on responding to a comment I made on the league thing, wondering why I was wanting NA to win League Worlds at least once. Like, he couldn't understand, like, why I would want North America to win. Because I'm American, baby, born and raised. And so I would love to see an American team step up, whether that's M80 or Passion UA, if we still want to count them in A, or 100 Thieves, technically America.
Too.
No, they're not. It's different because they're based over there. They are phased with the base over there. This would be LA. So this is bread.
They have like an office in like
Hey, there's a reason why we're the melting pot, right? So we don't have to have an All-American roster, okay? Because we are the melting pot of the world. We accept everyone. We love everyone, right? All religions, all cultures, all everything. So everybody come in here, as long as you're on the American banner, American, baby. That's all I care about. Let's go.
I feel like we watch different news sources if that's what you gather from the current state of America.
That's what I like to believe.
I agree. And I also think it's going to be a sick clip where in like 5 to 10 years when Pat is living amongst the Dutch and he's like pulling for some Dutch national team.
Hating on America. Just hating
They've
America
always
with a
been
passion.
terrible. I have never liked them. 2018 wasn't real. No, I do think from the American side, it's like the 2018 major in Boston is probably still one of, and obviously we're American and a little jaded, but it is still one of the most viewed, one of the most interacted with, one of the most significant majors in all of esports. Obviously, America's only major victory in any Tier 1 esport. Unfortunately, COD doesn't really count. But I agree. Same with League of Legends. Like you want to see America do well. You want to see them pull through and show that it's possible to do. Like NRG's win this year in Valorant was significant. It was cool to see that happen. But we need to see something like that again in Counter-Strike, just for the teams to be competitive. Elige is literally the face of America. And, like, you could argue, is he as good as Twiz? And they are fighting for the top 20 on HL TV to get in. Not top 10 or anything like that. So it's, I don't know, it's really tough right now. It feels like America's kind of down bad. The first part, the Mongolz piece, like, I'm just glad that we're not calling them the underdogs anymore or, like, the up-and-comers. They've been there for like 4 years. We have to accept it. And like, it's fine. They're like a top 15 team. They're not going to be a top 4 team. And that's totally fine. That's a cool, like, dude, if I could
World
be
number 1 this year at one point.
Yeah, they won EWC. Did you forget?
Yeah, if it doesn't count. They got to number 1 when like Vitality took like a month and a half off.
Listen, I know.
There's a lot of other teams.
Yeah, hey, I'm not disagreeing.
I know that you guys wanted to take this conversation and turn it into you're being nice because you want to support America on the back end of it. And we all want to support America, but this is really about the Mongolz and how they're going to dominate next year. And that's what I want to see for 2026.
What are you smoking?
They are going to do it. Go ahead, put it down there. You can argue with Pat in the chat. He'll be over there in the comments trying to figure
It
out
bothers
why.
me that if you go to HLTV right now and you filter by big events, EWC counts. I don't know why it counts. It's crazy that it counts.
Because it's a
It's a massive event.
It's huge.
It's a massive event.
No, it is. There was no groups. It was a Mickey Mouse format.
I love the format.
teams
That's great.
clearly didn't care.
Oh, no. The format was god awful.
Anyway, for
Mongolz are running back next year.
for whatever reason, that got filtered into the big events. If you remove that, there is no Mongolz victory this year. Just like
Second place at a major in Austin.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
they beat a 42-year-old Simple.
Through the easy
They beat
bracket,
a
yes.
16-year-old kid named Snow that I liked but played
but
terrible.
How dare you talk about Simple?
All I'm saying is we can say all that, but they still made more finals than teams like Falcons than Spirit. Like big major events, they made more.
Spirit won 4 actual events.
But I'm saying majors.
Falcons, I'll
the
give
majors.
you
Like Spirit
Falcons.
did not make a major final. Falcons did not make a major final. None of these big teams made a major final, but Mongolz did. And like, regardless if you want to say they got an easy route or not, it shows that they
And
can do
that's
it.
sad.
Yeah, but
now, we shouldn't be celebrating that. We should be crying about that.
Yeah, but the fact that you got to think like Spirit again, they played a real team, arguably, in the Falcons and defeated them in a major. The Mongolz played a real team in Vitality and got moked. They played a real team in Vitality, got smoked. That's it. The Spirit's other matchup was versus Mouse, a real team. And Vitality.
I mean,
ain't
I
nobody
take-
likes, by
Again,
the
a
way.
team that we've ragged on all year because they can't close it out.
Yeah, a team that nobody cares about.
I'm taking the Mongolz over Mouse, so.
I don't, their roster changes might make it look exciting. We got to see what they're going to do. We don't know.
Mongolz were on a run this year. Is all I'm going to say.
That's right.
From the major to EWC, they were on a run.
They're gonna.
What was that, like
You don't-
1
you don't
month?
make it to the
That was
world
like a
number one
1
team.
month
You don't
run.
make it to the world number 1 team without being on a run.
That's right.
Well, that's because they made the finals and Spirit got bounced in the first round because they played Mouse. Smoked their points. Falcons didn't make the bracket.
Because they throw.
The thing is, though,
Mouse played Vitality in the second round.
They also beat FaZe, who was another major grand finalist from the year, one of the 3. So they beat them with Simple.
They had
So,
2 fill-ins.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
FaZe got
Simple
lucky
kinda
too
threw that
at
one,
this
if I'm
at this
honest.
tournament.
I put that on Simple throwing, but I still think.
So
the
so
Mongolz
which
are better
format
than
do you like? If this format gets lucky teams to the final, and you also don't like EWC because it gives lucky teams to the final, do you even like a format?
Well, EWC.
Nah, I hate all formats.
Nah,
Hello?
EWC just didn't have the lack of group setup was a little bit weird, and then the bracket setup was a little bit odd. I think this is the only reason these two brackets both suck is because Falcons choked in the first one. Actually, Falcons choked in both of them. It's honestly heavily
They've
the
choked
Falcons'
all
fault.
year long.
But but because the Falcons choked in the first one, you had a weak side of the bracket. And then just because teams lost in weird ways, vitality through to legacy. So now the whole top half of the
Oh,
bracket.
you just play whoever you get matched up with, and you try to win.
That's right.
Totally.
And that's what they do. And that's what
100%.
teams like Spirit and Falcons can.
They got lucky. So thus, when it doesn't fall in their favor, they'll sit at around 8th place.
Yeah.
8th? No.
You're not going to buy 8.
Disrespectful.
Okay.
I was given a lot of credit there. I could have went lower. 8th,
So,
I
hey,
feel like
you
it's
tell
very
him-
justifiable.
Are Mongolz winning an event this year? Yes or no?
Top tier events?
Top tier event.
No, none, 0.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Is NA making the bracket more than once
No.
this year of a
Fine.
top tier event?
Just top tier? Okay,
No.
probably
Absolutely not.
more than once.
No, just
no,
once. Just once.
Yes.
No.
I'm going to give
If
more-
Mongols can make it, so can America. Baby.
America will make more brackets than Mongols will wins. For sure.
No, not
For sure.
true.
I
Hey,
agree.
Next up, I think I am on next. It
You
is
are.
going to be Premier needs to be better. Like we have to make an actual rank. It's not the rewards piece. It's just more about like maybe it's the rewards piece that makes me not care. It's that players in my games consistently do not care. And yes, I know I can totally go play Face It, and that is going to solve my problem. But that is a stupid solution. Face It no longer gives you up tick rate servers, so there's to me no external benefit of playing on those servers anymore. Obviously, the people probably care more and want to play more. It is stupid to me that we have a competitive mode and we have a Premier mode. And in Premier mode, I can get put in lobbies where nobody has mics, nobody wants to communicate, people are actively trolling and do not care about the outcome of my map. Dude, go play competitive or casual. Do not play this. I should be able to like, I don't know, flag those players or do something to be like, dude, get out of here. I might suck, but dude, I'm trying. I would at least rather be with sucky people that are trying.
All right, let me go first. Let me go first here.
Go ahead.
You know, I think I agree with you first, but first I want to say I feel like this is coming from the fact that you've been on a stinker in the game.
Hey,
and went down hard.
Dude,
and now
hey.
you're looking for something to help you out.
We might have had a generational crash out. I think it was 3-24 over the past week. It was.
Good Lord.
Oh, it was not good. Now, I want to say the last 4 matches were 3-4. We won 3 out of 4 matches. So we're on a little bit of a comeback. But during that 24, where I only had 3 victories, it was dark times. And it was one of those where, like, dude, you're in matches where I can go double positive and try to carry. Doesn't matter. I can be triple negative. Same outcome. Doesn't matter. And it's just one of those where it's like, it's so frustrating getting into a map because these matches are going to take 30 minutes to an hour. And you get into that match, and then the dudes, you calm, tell them what to do, nobody listens. Nobody buys, nobody does anything. You're literally more probable to get a hard R in a match than you are to get somebody to give you a drop. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, play competitive or play casual, and that's totally fine. Have fun with the game. I'm not saying, like, there shouldn't be a space for people to play and do stuff like that. But it's like, I just want to be able to, I don't care if it's like a rank queue where it's like, yo, I want to be an IGL, I want to be an anchor, I want to be something. But just make it intentional, because it does not. It feels like people just queue in Premier, just for funsies. It's just like a casual queue.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced the downswing, so I understand the emotions of that as well, which is not great. It's not good for you. It's not good for your teammates, because it's like Counter-Strike is a game where you feel trapped a lot of times, and you're like in this box, and you can't get out of this box, and how do you do it? Especially when you have a big rank swing like that. And I totally agree with you that I wish there was a way to make people want to win as much as I want to win. And that doesn't exist right now. And I don't know how you solve it. I think this is like one of the mysteries in life that we'll never solve.
Like, maybe it's rewards.
Life's
Maybe it's like
greatest
some type of like better feedback system. Because like, I don't know. To me, it's not it. Because like, dude, when you play matches and like, even if you're getting smoked, but you have a team that's trying to run executes and plays and like a dudes that are communicating and like, did had a match yesterday. It was like super close. We ended up losing, but it was like me and this dude were like swinging and like helping one another. And it was like, even in that loss, that felt so great. I would rather do that than be like with 4 silent dudes. One dude's like arguably cheating, who's smoking the lobby, and it's like I'm getting nothing from this. It's a waste of 50 minutes.
I think this is a good idea, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think there's really any way to do it without having something external like Face It and everything, because it's like the reason you're downloading Face It is because you care about winning more. So that's why you're downloading Face It. These people that don't care about winning, they're not downloading Face It because they're like, dude, I'll just play Premiere or whatever. I can just run this. I don't need to download anything extra. I'm just going to run this. So I think that's where the barrier of entry is it's like, if you genuinely don't care about winning, if you just want to run, why the heck would you download Face It and do all this installation and like run this stuff on your computer? And like, why would I do that if I just want to play a game? I'm just going to play it on the normal
As the
monitor.
person who plays ranked in League, you play the most ranked of 2 different games. Would you say that Counter-Strike is worse than League in terms of having non-caring teammates, or would you say it is similar to League in terms of having teammates that don't care?
I don't know. That's a tough one. It's really different because in League there's no voice chat, so there's automatically no voice comm. So it's kind of hard to tell the intention of the other person. But it definitely affects you more in League when someone's not trying to win because they can just completely troll your game and it genuinely doesn't matter at all what you're doing then. Versus like, I mean, in Counter-Strike, don't get me wrong, if your teammates are trolling, it's going to be hard to solo carry the game. But like, you actually have the capability to like 1v5 if you were just popping off and getting one-tap heads versus like in League, you actually can't 1v5 unless you're like just significantly far ahead and like.
So your support Nami's got like no chance.
Yeah, no chance. And to comment on what you said earlier about being trapped in a Counter-Strike game, that's one thing that I like about like Counter-Strike in these games that are not League, because League, I genuinely feel trapped in so much when I play League. I'm the problem a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, regardless, I'm trapped there for 40 minutes now.
It's the worst feeling in the world. And you like, I understand why people rage quit in those moments, because it's like, you cannot do anything to affect the outcome because of the situation in front of you. It's not good.
Totally. So, Davis, what do you got for us? What are you making Counter-Strike better in 2026 with?
I got what is mine again? Actually, I can't remember. I just had it on my map. Oh yeah, we mentioned it earlier. That's why I forgot about it. Inferno though, I am tired of Inferno. There's been a lot of talk about Mirage, how long it's been around, and it needs to be removed. I kind of agree with that too, just because it's been around for so long, and Inferno has been reworked a little bit. But I just don't like how Inferno plays. I don't like the whole how much you have to save on Inferno. If a terrorist team gets into the site and you're just kind of blocked out as a CT, you don't have numbers advantage. You see so many saves on Inferno. And one thing that I do think is like, I kind of enjoy and it's like interesting is watching T-sides like try to manipulate and move people around on counter-terrorists. Like you fake somewhere and it's really good for that, like watching meticulous plays happen. But as a viewer, it's so slow developing and there's so many saves that I'm honestly just kind of tired of it now.
Dude, it's the worst. It feels like the map that you get put into the spin cycle the worst. If you are a good T-side, like pro tip, you want to be good at T-side on Inferno, go to one site, activate util, maybe shoot at a guy. Go to the other site, do the same thing. Repeat that 6 times, and as long as you win the 5v2, you win the round. That's it. And it's like, that's not enjoyable. And if you're the CT, it's very not enjoyable. Because it's like you're on the site that doesn't get 5v2, you just sit there and it's like, I can't retake.
Yeah.
They have the whole
Save
site. I guess I'm sitting here saving.
Yeah.
We're going. You go.
Pat, GG next, or just...
No. Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Inferno either. It's very weird to play, and we'll go back to a little bit to Premiere. It's very frustrating when you play Inferno and you're on T, and then you just have this guy on your team who only wants to buy P90 and rush down banana, and like
crazy.
Like I don't get like why some people gravitate to that. It's just something that they like to do, and they'll get naded about 50 million times and flashed and killed out every time. But like
crazy.
It's a tough one because like there's a draw to banana. It just draws people
It's like a
in.
magnet.
It's weird, yeah. Like
Something
players
about-
just love to rush down that thing, boy.
Yeah,
I tell you
something about
what,
a
they
grown
rush
man
that
coming to
thing.
bananas, yeah.
But yeah, Inferno, it does suck because the T's do take control of a site. It is hard to take back, especially looking at it from just a pro level. Watching it, it is a bunch of saving. Oh, they cracked through here. Here we go. We got to wait. It just doesn't play nice. I would rather have a cash in its place. I think that would
My
be
only
my
devil's
thing.
advocate is the Falcons throw this year, probably the play of the year on Inferno. The Fallen, arguably Navi throw, also on Inferno. So 2 of the best clips of the year came from that map.
I think too.
Still
I
get
think
rid of
it really is bad for a Premiere environment because, like we were talking about earlier, no one wants to calm, no one wants to work together. And Inferno, you have to do that to
Totally.
be successful on the map.
Because you
So
have
it's
to
just
know
like-
people are rotating in and out.
Yeah, exactly. So
'Cause
if
that's
you
the
just
worst. You're on-
Consistently just hit a site and rush. It's just going to be banging it out on that site. If you win the fight, you win the round. If you lose the fight, you lose the round. But like you see in the pros, how they go this way, they fake. They throw util this way, they fake. It's so just there's so much plays that can be made on the map, but that's just not happening in Premiere ever.
Not for sure.
No, I mean the rotation is weird on it. The alt mid side, we don't see a lot of movement apps a lot of times on that map too. It's like normally one dude is up there, and because you can't waterfall out of it, you'll just die. And so it becomes this weird pick game that everyone wants to play, and it's really hard to take that site. It's like I'm surprised we didn't see more stacks where it'd be like we did see it sometimes. There'd be like 4 people on B, and then we just leave one in A, and if they rotate, here we go. We'll go with them. But yeah, it definitely has gotten a little stale for sure.
Makes sense. That is all we had for today's episode. Hopefully, we have satisfied your opinions and reflected all of your thoughts and desires for the 2026 Counter-Strike season. We're going to be playing a lot of Premier. One of us might even be changing to face it at the current practice of how terrible this is going. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next one.
Join the Discord.
Do that for Pat.
Click the button.
Just for Pat.
Okay, click the button.
Just at him whole time.